In trying to create a work-life balance, you might find that, conflict comes up. So, how about instead of trying to create a balance, we create a work-life harmony? Welcome to the Strategy Rewind Podcast. I am your host, Miguel Lebron. Here at the Strategy Rewind Podcast, we look at the relationship between goals, strategies, belief, and objective breakthrough. I'm so excited for today's episode. Hey, if we haven't met before, thank you for being connected here today. I am a father, a leader, an author, a strategy coach, and mentor, and I partner with individuals who have a goal but need a strategy. And in this podcast, we focus on the strategy to help you have a breakthrough moment. In 2014, Pastors Malvin and Ashley Cross began Glory House International. And just 4 years later, I had the chance to sit down with Pastor Malvin Cross in a local coffee shop here in Rochester, New York. Now, that conversation was recorded, but I'm going to admit to you something, my friend. I thought that I lost the audio file, and I was bummed. In fact, for years, I dealt with the fact that it was lost. But recently, this audio file somehow resurfaced in my life. And what I'd like to do is share with you just a clip, just a portion of that particular conversation, because in it, he talked about strategies so that we can avoid leadership burnout and so that we can have that harmony that we wish to have in our life, in our relationships, and continue to move forward our purpose. I'll talk to you on the other side of this clip. You and your wife been working in the ministry since 2014, at least in Glory House. Before that, you were both working in ministry. Talk a little bit about balance, because both of you are working towards a degree right now, right?
We are.
Okay, so talk a little bit about balance in marriage, education, ministry, and you guys have children. How you balance all this out?
By the grace of God. No, but we both are very intentional about our family time and our adult time. Our marriage is very important. So we don't let ministry encompass everything. Even though ministry is our passion, and ministry is our we come from the perspective is that raising our family is ministry. Maintaining our marriage is ministry. So we have our date nights religiously every Friday. We don't care what happens. Me and my wife are out enjoying ourselves. You know, still loving each other, still dating each other. So we really, you have to be intentional about boundaries. With school, my church is very understanding. I have an amazing congregation. God has really been good to us. We have an amazing congregation. So they understand that both of us are pursuing our doctorate degrees. So I have a team of leaders, team of elders. When I can't do counseling, I have some capable and qualified people that I trust and that I've equipped to do what I'm able to do. And so that's why I'm able to still pursue a degree. So I'm still able to be a newlywed. So I'm still able to have kids because I've raised up people to be able to do what I do.
Being intentional.
It's not a one-man show. This is not the Malvin Cross show.
Yeah.
We are a community. We are the body of Christ. So I think this is why a lot of pastors suffer from burnout or they become, they stop liking what they do is because they don't have any support. I was intentional from the beginning. I always told the members, I want you to do what I do and do it better. I want to work myself out of a job. I want to raise you up to be able to be a strong intercessor, to be a great preacher, to be a great community engager. And so that's why we're able to do what we do.
When I think about the conversation that I had with Pastor Cross, I am encouraged about the future. And I also realize that we need to create more healthy boundaries. I'm so excited about what's up ahead, but also we can't forget that it's not a one-man show, as Pastor Cross mentioned. How do we avoid leadership burnout? We have to create a support system. I've often said that you have to surround yourself with people that will nourish your vision. But the truth is, how can this happen if we don't communicate our vision? The only way we can create the support system that we need is if we begin to communicate what is our vision. Think about an orchestra. The conductor by himself can do nothing, and the musicians by themselves can sound great, but the only way that symphony can be heard is if they all communicate and come together in harmony. Frank Shamrock, the former UFC middleweight champion, once said the following: when you have harmony in the different areas of your life, with your mind, body, and spirit, you're just so much stronger, especially in really intense, stressful situations. End quote. The fact is that you and I will encounter stressful situations. You and I will encounter intense moments, but we need to look for not balance, harmony. Harmony looks at the relationship between your mental life, emotional life, your relationship with your significant other, your life at work, and it looks to bring all of these things together. The fact is that if you're having a rough day at work, it's likely that energy, that emotion will go with you to your household. And if you don't communicate because they don't understand, it's going to affect the relationship you have there. Oftentimes, I find myself sharing with my wife what it is that I'm going to do, what project, what meeting, what's on the agenda. Yes, I know she doesn't know all of the fine details or the names that I'm mentioning or the things that I will be doing. She may not know or fully understand, but it's not her job to understand, just to be supportive. And the only way she can truly support me is if I take the moment to communicate. So let's look at some strategies here, because I really want you to have a breakthrough moment when we talk about having that work-life harmony. Number one, create a support system. Create an orchestra, a team that can actually work with you. Remember, you have to surround yourself with people that will nourish your vision, and the only way this group exists is if you communicate your vision. Number two, be intentional over and over and over. In that clip of the conversation I had with Pastor Cross, he spoke about being intentional, and not just being intentional, but also creating boundaries. This is something that we have to do and we have to get better at, being intentional. Here, I'll give you an example. You may have a moment in your agenda where it's just for you. But how often do you sacrifice that time only to try to get ahead on another project or help someone else? The truth is, we tend to do this a lot. We tend to sacrifice our self-time, our moment to be alone just to help the others. And the fact is that if you are burnt out mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, then it doesn't matter how much money you have or how many projects you complete. You need the support system, but in order for the support system to work, you need to have communication. And in order for communication to fully have its effect, you need to be present. This means that when I'm conversing, I'm not thinking about what's going on later or what's going to happen, but I'm thinking about the moment. We have to be intentional. I just can't get over this powerful quote that Pastor Cross said in this conversation. He said, "We don't let ministry encompass everything, even though ministry is our passion." He's not blinded by the reality of what's fueling him and his reasoning and his purpose and his why. But he doesn't allow that to blind him from the relationships and the other parts of his multi-layered life. So how do we do this? How do we have this breakthrough moment when talking about work-life harmony? Well, number one, create an orchestra. Again, when we look at that orchestra, there is communication and there is teamwork and there is a mutual understanding. Number two, be intentional. And of course, number three, set boundaries. Be willing to say no. Oftentimes we are scared on saying no. I've actually gone ahead and written a blog that you can check out by clicking the links in the show notes, which talks about how to say no and how to receive a no. We have to be willing and able to receive a no. And here's one of the things. No means new opportunity, not a conclusion, but rather a door for a new beginning. I want to take this moment to thank everyone who has been connected here today. Thank you. If you found value and insight with the strategies discussed today, check out the show notes for further highlights and helpful links, and consider subscribing to be notified when a new weekly episode is available. Also, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that helps us know that you like this podcast and want more of it. A special thanks to today's guest, and please be sure to follow them for more helpful information. Well, I'll connect with you on the next episode of Strategy Rewind, but in between time and in the meantime, check out MiguelLebron.com, where you'll find free resources. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you shortly.